The wealth gap explained and what you can do about it. If you're watching this video right now, there's a 90% chance you're on the losing side of the wealth gap. And I'm not trying to be dramatic. I'm about to show you exactly why. And more importantly, how to flip the script. Let's start with a reality check that most people refuse to acknowledge. The top 1% of Americans own more wealth than the entire middle class combined. We're talking about roughly 40% of all wealth concentrated in the hands of less than 3 million people. But here's what really matters to you. The average American in their 30s has a net worth of around $40,000. Meanwhile, the average wealth of someone in the top 10%? Over $1.2 million. That gap isn't an accident. It's engineered. The system is designed so that if you don't know what you're doing, you fall behind automatically. Most people work a job, get a paycheck, spend that paycheck, and repeat until retirement. That's the trap. Here's the brutal truth. Your salary alone will never make you wealthy. A $100,000 a year job sounds amazing until you realize it takes 35 years of work just to gross $3.5 million. And that's before taxes, living expenses, and everything else. The wealthy don't build wealth through salaries. They build it through ownership. They own stocks, real estate, businesses, assets that generate money while they sleep. The wealth gap exists because of compound interest, and here's the kicker. Compound interest doesn't care if you're rich or poor. It works exactly the same way for both. The difference is timing and consistency. If you start investing at 25 versus 35, that 10-year difference could easily cost you $500,000 by retirement. That's the power of the gap. Time is literally money. The wealthy understand three things that most people don't. First, they use other people's money to get richer. While you're saving up $5,000 to invest, they're borrowing $500,000 at favorable interest rates to buy income-producing assets. Their cost of capital is lower because they already have capital. Second, they maximize tax-advantaged accounts. Most Americans have no clue that a Roth IRA exists or how it works. A Roth IRA lets you contribute up to $7,000 a year. And every single dollar grows tax-free forever. That's insane. Over 30 years. That's $210,000 in contributions that turns into over $1.5 million in a market averaging 10% returns. But most people? They let that money sit in a savings account earning 0.05%. That's not conservatism. That's ignorance disguised as caution. Third, they understand asset allocation. While average Americans keep most of their money in cash, the wealthy are diversified across stocks, bonds, real estate, and alternative investments. A typical wealthy person might have 40% in index funds like the S&P 500, 30% in real estate, 20% in business equity, and 10% in cash reserves. The average person? 70% of their net worth is in their house. That's not diversification. That's a single bet. Here's the good news. You don't need to be born wealthy to close the gap. You just need to start. Step 1. Max your 401k if you have access to one. If your employer matches contributions, that's free money. Seriously. If you earn $50,000 a year and your employer matches 3%, that's $1,500 a year they're literally giving you. Not taking advantage of that is leaving money on the table. Step 2. Open a Roth IRA immediately. Go to Fidelity or Vanguard right now. Commit to putting $300 a month into it. That's only $10 a day. In 30 years, that's $1.8 million assuming a 10% return. $1.8 million from $35 a week. Step 3. Invest in index funds. Specifically, low-cost index funds that track the S&P 500. You don't need to pick individual stocks. That's how people lose money. A simple total stock market index fund averages about 10% annually. That beats most active traders. And you set it and forget it. Step 4. Stop waiting for perfection. People say they'll start investing once they have more money, once the market is better, once they understand it more. That's procrastination dressed up as planning. Start with what you have now. The wealth gap exists because people on one side of it take action and people on the other side wait. You now know exactly what the wealthy know. The only difference between you and them is time and consistency. Subscribe to this channel. We're dropping videos every week on closing the wealth gap and building real wealth. Hit the notification bell so you don't miss a single one. Your future self is watching right now. Make a decision that they'll thank you for. End of script.